It's so much deeper than I'm able to say, because what I'm telling everyone, Eve, and the extremeness of light, raw, Y, R with a Y instead of R-A, raw. So Eve is before the light. R-Y is raw, but it's in the late form after it's shone down onto you from yonder. And now it's every one. So every one comes from the sun, and we all know that. And each one of us is a son of God, and we know that. So when I'm saying these things, I'm not saying something that Dan Alexander made up. I'm saying something that God itself made up in light, then into forms, which were spiritually like numbers and signs. But before that, it was even unseen stuff like vibrations and waves and patterns, but unseen patterns. So that's why it's hard for some things to be explained. Some things are going to be able to be written down. Some will be heard. Some will be seen. Some will be like gestured. Some can be thought about and understood. But until people open what we refer to as your third eye, which is a 3, all 3, top, middle, bottom, lowest self, middle self, higher self, or you could say self, higher self, and then divine self, or what do they say it, the super ego or the super consciousness self. You don't need all these words. See, those things get you all confused, just like when you say, oh, you're going to have a bad day tomorrow. A bad day to one person is horrible, and a bad day to somebody else that they think was so bad is like, I was late for work by 5 minutes and my boss yelled at me. Didn't fire me, just told me not to do it again, and that just made me so angry because I was on my way. You know what I mean? Little stuff. And those are such little things. Like each one entire lifetime with all the pain and struggle and heartache you go through is really just about as little as, spilling water and wiping it up with a paper towel. Or, watching a movie and missing a little part of it, but somebody can lose their cool over that. It really is that much. It's like if the electric goes out when you're in the middle of watching a movie or at a game you were playing and you couldn't save it on a video game and you couldn't save it and the electric goes out or something like that. And you're like, oh, I didn't save it. Like, it's literally that much of a big deal to lose a life, go through all your pain when you actually understand the spiritual world. But it doesn't mean that you don't value it when you're in it. Because when you play it, you get really involved. Some people show that and flip out if they get interrupted while watching a movie, if someone spills water, people will flip out. You're a spiritual being, and you have flipped out so many times, and we're still doing it now. In a timeless way, the best way I can explain it in words, because I'm not able to stand in front of every person to walk around and make gestures, because nobody's paying attention to anything I have, and once they do, I can really help people, not because Dan wants to, because I'm in Dan and I'm in you, and I am what you think you are, and everyone else is. But before anything was alive, and before I took shape of it, and Dan isn't that specifically as a physical thing. He's just a collection of the earth materials like everyone else is. But the spiritual being in him, the conscious being in him, the word that nobody has said yet to understand what God is, that Dan can't tell anybody because it's more than just sound. And we're not allowed. We just aren't allowed. People aren't ready to handle that because there's too much deception and hatred in the world. And Dan can't get through his head that if he thinks about it enough, he can create it. But he wants it to happen in a peaceful way and can't figure it out himself without anybody else helping him. So, because he's lived a human life just like you have, and you've been deluded with the things you see. And if the things you see have deluded the people around you, you see them not able to get rid of those influences. So that keeps reproducing in your world too. And the more you try to not be around them, the more they feel disconnected. So you go back around them, and then you still see those things in the background. So it reminds you that they're there, and they keep reproducing. And the only way to take them away is for each individual to work on not wanting those things that are wrong, and things that are, let's not just say wrong, let's say harmful for others, or harmful for children, or harmful for animals or nature. Those should be the things that we look at. If they're harmful to other things, there's no reason to do them. and harmful in any way. Make them think the wrong stuff, make them crave the wrong things, make them addicted to things, make it so that they buy more, buy more, buy more. You just, those are wrong things and we know it. But then we go around saying, there's nothing right or wrong, because that's where you're talking from a spiritual place. But most people don't even know they're spiritual, so they're actually coming from an ego place because they never were taught right from wrong. Just like we say, has anyone taught you right from wrong? Some people will say, yeah, I know what's right and wrong. And other people say, there's no such thing as wrong and right, you know? Don't you notice that this all happens? So I was given the key through not just numbers and letters. I can teach people so much more if they come and see me in person, or, you know, take me seriously and stop listening to all the crap that they hear on the TV. Like, I can tell you everything that you've ever wanted to know and why. But I don't feel that I should have to. And I'm not going to prove it if someone says, well, do this right now. But I'm not saying that doesn't mean that I'm not here to give people answers, because what else would I do when I have the truth, when I am the truth, and when I am what you are completely? I've lived everyone's life, and they're living it now through Dan Alexander's eyes and through their eyes and their impressions and all the ones around us, and we're leaving it that way. But let's make the details and all the side characters and all the cast members get on the same page, so then our scenery and our episodes can be much, much better. But in the real physical living world, together as one, because we are anyway. Till next time, everybody, peace and God bless. I love you.